Hello students. Now we come to the topic third of Harappan culture, Mohenjodaro, a planned structure. Uh, Actually, before the discovery of Mohenjodaro, the first site discovered of this Harappan culture was Harappa, and that is why this culture is known as Harappan culture. The first site discovered by Dayaram Sahni in 1921, and the second site which was discovered was uh, Mohenjo-daro, which was discovered in 1922 by Rakhal Das Banerjee. Actually, this Mohenjo-daro literally means mound of date, and this settlement had two sections. One is the citadel, relatively at the higher level with smaller size, and the other one is the lower town, which is known as, which was also on the raised platform. The citadel was constructed on the mud brick platform, and it was the walled city. The lower town was also even walled, and several buildings were built on the platforms, uh, which serve those platforms serve as the foundations. Once the platform were in place, all building activities within the city was restricted within that very platform. It seems that the settlement was the planned one, and then the planning was implemented accordingly once the platform were raised. The other things which reflect that what was everything was planned was the bricks, whether it was sun dried or the baked one, were in a standardized ratio, where the length of an length and breadth were four times and twice the height respectively. Now come to the next one. The how this Harappan settlement, if we talked about the how Harappan settlements, we can say that planned. It was a planned one. It was, if we found the Mohenjo-daro, we find that it had two sections. One is the citadel, one is the lower town, and all building activities were restricted within a fixed area raised platform. Other signs of planning we can include bricks one, second, whether standard, whether sun baked or dried, uh, all were uh, having standardized ratio. Secondly, the town planning was based on the grid pattern or chessboard pattern, where the street intersect each other at the right angle. And beside that, even the drainage system was also planned. This year one question was asked in 2020, write about the domestic structure of the Harappans. If we talked about residential building, many of them were centered around a courtyard with all rooms on all sides. In fact, the courtyard was probably center of different activities such as cooking, weaving, etc. And privacy was the main concern. Why? Because we haven't find any windows at the uh, ground floor, and at the same time, the main entrance does not have a direct view of the interior or the courtyard by any passerby. Even every house had its own bathroom paved with bricks, and a drain was connected to the drain of the streets. Some houses even have two stories. Even some houses have wells also. It is estimated that around 700 wells have been discovered from this site, Mohenjo-daro. Now come to the important smaller part of this Mohenjo-daro, that is called citadel. This citadel, it in fact it was a smaller but at the higher platform, and this uh, height just it owed to a mud structure, a mud brick platform. It was walled one, and it was physically separated from the lower town. In citadel we find the evidence of public structure buildings. There were two buildings, two kinds of building. One was the warehouse called granary, a massive structure to store the grains, and the second one, the great bath, which had some ritual importance. Now come to the uh, features of great bath. If we look towards the great bath, this is a rectangular tank surrounded by corridors on all four sides, and there were two flights. If we see the structure, there were two flights. One is on the northern side and other is the southern side, which lead to into the tank. And it was a watertight tank setting with the bricks on edge and is using a mortar of gypsum. There were rooms on the three side, in one of which there was a large well, and the water comes in this tank those through that very huge well, and there was a drainage system which drain out the water from the tank. Across the lane to the north, there is a smaller building with 8 bathrooms, 4 on each side of the corridor, and it is supposed to be the changing rooms, maybe most probably. And the uniqueness of this structure as well as the context where in which it was found, it suggests that there was some special ritual bath attached with this uh, structure